Is it close to the microphone?
Talking about.
Who are you?
I am Lauren 17.
Where are you from?
Low-7.
Tell me when to switch slides.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Now,
Yeah.
just say go or whatever.
The polar bear, also known as the sea bear, evolved around 200,000 years ago from their brown bear ancestors. They adapted for survival in the far north. They range throughout the Arctic They range throughout the Arctic areas where the seals. Adult males are usually around 775 pounds to 1,200 pounds, and the adult females weigh about 330 pounds to 650 pounds.
Habitats and behaviors. The polar bear's main prey and favorite food is bird steel. Polar bears usually catch burnt seals with seal surface to breathe at openings in ice or breathing holes called cages. Polar bears can run as fast as 40 kilometers per hour, but only for short distances. They can cover 2 kilometers without stopping.
What's happening to the polar bears? The polar bears' numbers are decreasing and increasing rather than decreasing, but in all cases. Those areas have been proven to be impacted by hunting and non-farming. The government may set aside a huge section of real estate in Alaska for desert habitat. Polar bear meat and fur is very high on the market right now because it's such good quality.
What's happening involving global warming? The temperature is increasing in the Arctic, which is causing ice to melt. As a result, polar bears and seals are dying because they have no habitat. Everything in the world is being wiped out. Most get stranded on ice and starve. The whole cycle of the Arctic is being degraded.
The Arctic is experiencing the warmest air temperatures in 4 centuries. Scientists predict a mostly ice-free Arctic summer by 2040 if present trends continue. Today's polar bears are facing rapid loss of sea ice where they hunt and breed. Scientists believe that we still have time to save polar bears if we reduce greenhouse emissions in the next few years.
Scientists believe polar bears have distant territories or home ranges. One Alaskan polar bear home range is found to be 45 times the size of Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which supports some 400 black bears. The size of the bear's range depends on how much food is available there. Polar bears in rich food areas have smaller home ranges, which often overlap those of other bears.
That's the effect.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did mine on the RSE Symposium by the patriarch in the Arctic Ocean. Now, let's start with the first key point of the Arctic Ocean. How can we do that to the polar bears? I mean, look at that polar bear. Looks unhappy now. We have to protect the polar bears. I mean, they're polar bears. So I took a quote from one of his speeches he gave while there. It says, St. Paul warns us that in our present fallen state, we can only see the world in a mirror and a puzzle. Or as one famous translation puts it, we observe reality through glass darkly. That's what it's all. It's basically saying we see one way. We don't see what's happening in the future. We just see present. We see what's happening to us now. We do what's best for us now, but we're not always looking to the future.
Vince?
Yes, exactly. Okay, so his Arctic Symposium was in 2007, and the big environmental issue in the Arctic is the ice sheets are an early sign for anything in the environment. Contaminants get stuck there. You can tell that there's global warming going on by all the melting, the food populations around the ice sheets. The Arctic is the test for all the ecosystem, basically. first thing is contamination. Chemicals that are released through factories, through cars, through anything, they're carried north by air currents. And all those air currents end up ending in the Arctic, where we're deposited and frozen in the ice. Besides organic chemicals, such as just like CO2, carbon monoxide, anything like that, radioactive waste from Eastern Europe is found there through the air currents. Most notably from the Chernobyl radioactive disaster, there's still radioactive contaminants from Chernobyl left in the ice sheets. Energy, Arctic, including Alaska, contains 25% of the world's hydrocarbons, which is basically oil, coal, and some of the new, better burning coals, but still, it's mostly crude oil, just plain coal, which are the worst environments, the worst. But since no one lives there, everyone, well, not no one, but not a good portion of the world's population, people say we should go drilling for oil up there, and that's how we can solve the oil problem. And when the ice sheets melt, the oil gets, and the coals evaporate, not evaporate, but they get back into the air system, and they start getting depleted and dropped off through more air currents cycling them around. There was one thing where it said they make it all the way down to the Amazon River and are affecting fish populations. But then also, as ice melts, the still liquid and solid oil and coal are easier to reach and makes it more economic friendly, which poses the question, do we dig there or not? Biodiversity. I mean, there's many species there. There's fish, polar bears, penguins, native birds. The Arctic has everything, seals, a couple sharks. But the changes to the climate, when either the ice sheets are melting and the land creatures are losing where they can live, their range of food, and then when the ice melts, it raises the water temperature around there, making it unhabitable for fish. A change of 2 degrees can kill off over half the fish species in the Arctic. Yeah. And then finally, the people. The people that live there. Mainly, Greenland is where there's most villages, but it used to be people were nomadic. They put up tents, they go from place to place, looking for food. But now they're building permanent settlements with roads, with houses, with electric wires. And as the ice melts and shifts, it destroys roads. Houses are falling to fissures of ice. Where people can hunt, they lose their native hunting grounds. They have to find new hunting grounds. There's this one woman who was in the Arctic who was considered one of the best hunters for her village. And because of all the ice shifting and ice melting, she got lost and she never came back home that day. Any questions? Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
With all when the ice is melting, and all you have is all that settlement in the ice, can that be recycled? All of whatever the carbon monoxide, any of the soot that's in the ice, can it be reused?
Not really. It just goes back into the atmosphere and into the water.
Back into the water. So
Yeah.
the whole thing is a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Going back and forth. But is there some way of cleaning it up? Is the ice filtering it?
No. And it goes away, and whatever gets caught in that cycle stays in the cycle. Jamie, you're up. Oh, wait, one more question.
I just was wondering, because they had all of those fish that it was unexplained why they were dying. It's not in the Arctic, but I wonder, do you think that the global warming has anything to do with the die-offs of various animals that we've seen lately?
Yeah, like any other fish species, just water. Fish have very small ranges of temperature. Like us, we can have our thermostat at 68 degrees and be happy, and 80 degrees and be happy. A fish has like a 3-degree range of temperature. Once it goes below there, they start dying off, becoming sick. They can't adapt as well as we can.
Can they move to more comfortable climates? I mean, it's not as if the water changes overnight. You know, they can sense the.
They can, because like Arctic fish, they're used to the cold water. The further south they go, it's warmer.
So if you can't find a colder place,
Yeah.
Right.
then those that are adapted to function in that place, if there's nowhere that meets that, if you, there's no water that temperature joining in an adjoining body, then
They're
they're cooked.
or frozen.
What's the cause for the emissions heading north?
Just various air currents. Like anything that goes into the water, the Gulf Stream pulls up and it ends up freezing in the ice and going to ice sheets. Jet stream pulls it. Yeah.
And all goes up north?
It all ends up north somehow.
How about bringing it home to our to our own lives? How does that impact what we're experiencing today personally? Because
I mean, personally, the only main thing that we are experiencing currently is loss of food, like fish. The population's dying and lose fisheries, but otherwise, it's more just an indicator of what's happening in the future. As the ice melts there, it comes down. Those are what we know what's happening. If the ice starts melting, you know the climate's going higher. That's just the cornerstone of the environment. Any other questions?
Where does melting ice go?
Goes into the water and it just cycles around through the oceans and it ends up back along the Arctic. It usually freezes. Or it evaporates and ends up in the atmosphere and it
Comes down,
It comes down to snow.
or snow.
About that,
Yeah, like all that.